or a song phrase that David wrote in response to God out of 2 Chronicles 29. If you get the daily scriptures with the YouVersion app of the Bible on your phone, it gives you the option to click on it, and then they have an excerpt from it today as the verse of the day. But I really want to read the whole thing as just a place to start out in worship this morning. 2 Chronicles 29. Starting in verse 10, it says, O Lord, the God of our ancestors, may you be praised forever and ever. Yours, O Lord, is the greatness, the power, the glory, the victory, and the majesty. Everything in heaven and on earth is yours. O Lord, this is your kingdom. We adore you as the one who is over all things. All wealth and honor come from you alone, for you rule over everything. Power and might are in your hand, and at your discretion people are made great and given strength. O our God, we thank you and praise your glorious name. But who are we, and who are we as a people that we can give to you anything? Because everything we have has come from you, and we give you only what you give us first. We are here only for a moment, visitors and strangers in the land as our ancestors were before us. Our days on earth are like a passing shadow, gone so soon without a trace. O Lord our God, even this material we have gathered to build a temple to honor your holy name comes from you. It all belongs to you. I know, my God, that you examine our hearts and rejoice when you find integrity there. You know that I have done all this with good motives, and I have watched your people offer their gifts willingly and joyously. O Lord, the God of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Israel, make your people always want to obey you. See to it that their love for you never changes. That was David's response as they were building the temple of God, as they were preparing the place where for the next almost 100 years, the Israelites would daily bring their songs and their worship to God. But the most amazing thing is that God has now put his temple in each of our hearts. We no longer have to go to a church building. We no longer are having to go somewhere else to go to the temple, because he's put his spirit, his house in us. We are now the temple of God. And so we bring our joy, praise, and our thanksgiving to him today. Let's worship.
You will sing, through the death will rise.
God, that we come into agreement with your word today. We speak life, we speak truth over the lives of the enemy. We use our mouths as a weapon against the enemy, as a weapon against discouragement, as a weapon against fear, as a weapon against hopelessness, as a weapon against self-condemnation and shame. And we declare your word, your truth. You guys, that's all praise is. It's just reminding ourselves who God is. We're just making declarations about what he says about himself. And prayer is this thing that where we come into agreement, we partner with him about what he already says he's going to do. Praise is about who he is. Prayer is about what he's going to do. In fact, the fact that we even release a prayer to God, it's actually his spirit causing you to pray what he wants you to pray. Amen. That's where we read scriptures in Isaiah and Matthew, especially Matthew chapter 6, where he says multiple times, God already knows what you need before you even speak it. Before you even pray for it, he already knows what you need. Because the fact that you're even praying into that is from him.
Thank you, Lord.
The thing that you're crying out for is actually him saying, come into agreement with what I want to do. Come into agreement with what I want to do in your life and in the lives of others around you. Amen. So we declare who he is, and we speak and we pray what he's going to do. Amen? Amen. Yes. Kindness, you have poured out grace on me. and amen. There's a scripture that says his promises are our armor and protection. God's promises are not just good ideas. They're not just fluffy, feel-good emotions and statements that we say. If his promises are yes and amen, that means they will come to pass. It will happen. It will happen. God says he watches after his word to perform it. He watches after his word to perform it. So when we declare a thing that is a promise of God, whether it be our salvation, whether it be our healing, whether it be our provision, whether it be our purpose and destiny in him, he watches after that word that we release to perform it. This is why it is crucial for us to come to the place where we agree with the promises of God. Where we first of all, we know the promises of God. If you don't know the promises of God, you need to go on a treasure hunt in the Word and sit and listen to his voice, because God has promises for you and me. He even has unique promises for you. Declare this. I have unique promises from God for my life. I have unique promises from God for my life. When you read the scriptures and you read the stories and you start to see what God did with other people, you need to know that his promises as much are for them, his promises are as much for you as they were for them. He was revealing his character. He was revealing his nature. He was revealing all that he wanted to purpose in you. All that he wants you to come into agreement with. So, I'm going to read this morning about the blessing, about the promises of God. When we speak the promises, the blessings of God over ourselves, over our spouse, over our children, over our students, or over anyone in our life, you are not just using nice words. Listen to me. You're not just using nice words. Those words carry God's supernatural power. They release favor. They release ability. They release confidence. And they release God's goodness in extraordinary ways. We should make it our mission to speak the promises and blessings of God into as many people as we possibly can. So this is a beautiful thing. We shared the other day about a testimony about a man who currently there's portions of a ministry in Portland that walk the streets of Portland every Saturday, prayer walking around Portland, forgiving sin and declaring the kindness of God over that city, declaring the love of Jesus over a city. And Stacy was telling me this morning, we were on our prayer walk yesterday, we were declaring this over Chuck and Stacy. I actually saw them and I waved at them. I didn't know what they were doing, but she goes, hey, by the way, when you waved at us, we were on our prayer walk. So Chuck and Stacy are walking around the city releasing Jesus over our city. Bless you guys for that. Listen to this. With our words, say my words. We can release favor into somebody else's life. With your words, you can release the blessing. You can release the promises into somebody else's life. Here's a testimony. I heard about a small girl who had a cleft lip. Her lip was a little bit crooked and it made her smile awkward. When she was in second grade, other students would not play with her because she looked different. She grew up with these incredible insecurities, and she just shrunk back and stayed to herself and didn't really have any friends. One day, the school was conducting hearing tests. The teacher had each student walk slowly away from her while the teacher whispered very quietly. The students were told to repeat out loud in front of the whole class what the teacher was whispering. For most students, the teacher would make general statements like, "The sky is blue. There's a cat outside. Today is Tuesday." The students would repeat each statement to show they could hear properly. When it came time for the little girl with the cleft lip, she was nervous and afraid. But after she passed the hearing test, the teacher smiled and told her, "I wish you were my little girl." When she heard the teacher approve and the blessing spoken over her, it did something on the inside. It gave her a new sense of confidence, a greater self-esteem. Not only that, when the older students heard how much the teacher loved this little girl, their attitudes changed. Now they all wanted to be her friend. They made sure to sit by her at lunch. They started inviting her over to their home after school. What was that? It was the blessing spoken, not by a parent, but by another authority figure. And it released God's favor into her life in a greater way. When she became a young lady, the little girl often spoke of that day as a turning point in her life. I think about what might have happened if her teacher had withheld the blessing. What if she had just said something ordinary? Who knows where that young lady would be today? It's so simple, but it can have such a huge impact. That's why you should get in a habit of speaking the blessing every chance you get. Every chance you get. When we release the blessing, when we speak identity over our life. Guys, this is what God is whispering to us all the time. I love you. You're my child. He doesn't wish you were his kid. You are his kid. You are his kid. He's adopted you. He paid a high price for your adoption. So let's make some declarations this morning. I declare that I have a sound mind. Filled with God thoughts. Not thoughts of defeat. By faith, I am well able. I am anointed. I am equipped. I am empowered. My thoughts are guided by God's word and spirit. Every day, every hour, every moment. No obstacle can defeat me. Because my mind is programmed for victory. This is my declaration. I declare I use my words to bless other people. I speak favor and I speak victory over myself, over my family and friends, and over all of my loved ones, and even people that I pass by in the street. I call out their seeds of greatness by telling them they are a blessing, that I'm proud of them, that I love them, that they're amazing, that they are talented, that they are beautiful, and that they will do amazing, incredible things with their life. This is my declaration. We are to be called encouragers. We are to be encouragers, to share the love of Jesus with the world. When we are overwhelmed with our own pressure and our own difficulties, it's really hard for us to think or see anyone else, to reflect on anyone else's circumstances because we're so consumed with our own troubles. There has to be a mind shift. There has to be a change where we are no longer consumed with our own personal troubles, but we are concerned about other people. And so this is where trust in God comes in. If we do not learn to trust in God, we will always be overwhelmed by our own negative circumstances and thoughts. But the minute that you trust in God, the minute that you believe God's promises, you're declaring His promises, you're standing on His promises, you're releasing the blessing with your words, I'm telling you, it shifts the whole atmosphere around your life. And you no longer look at your circumstances in a negative way, because you make declarations like, with God, all things are possible. Nothing is too hard for God. God is for me, God is with me, God is in me. There's nothing He can't do. There's nothing He won't do for me. There's nothing good that He's holding back from me. When we make these promises and declarations, it shifts our mindset and we no longer have focus. We think, oh, that's not a problem in my life. Oh, I'm not overwhelmed by that anymore. And we have eyes to see other people, and then we can begin to say, oh, what can I do to bring encouragement to them? What can I do to release hope? What can I do to bless them today? So we have to keep our eyes on God. Like I read a couple mornings ago about keeping our eyes on Jesus. Literally keeps us from cycles of defeat and sin. Keeping our eyes fixed on the Lord. The minute we take it off of God, we put it on our problems, we put it on everything that's not working, we put it on our emotions, fear and sadness and grief and loneliness and pain and lack and all the things that the enemy wants us to feel overwhelmed by. So today, let's fix our eyes on Him. Let's put our eyes on Jesus, fix our eyes on the Lord, cast all our cares at His feet, for He cares for us. And then let's let the Lord use us to be a blessing to other people today. Amen?
Amen.
Forever all my praise will ever be on my lips. Oh, your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips. Oh, ever be, your love is devoted, like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring, hold through the winter rain, and beyond the horizon. The grace before today, faithful you have been, faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, don't think that I can faithful. Faithful you have been, faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, oh, my faithful God. Faithful you have been, faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me. That is why I sing your praise will never be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will never be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will never be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will never be on my Your kindness makes us whole. You shoulder our weakness, and your strength becomes our own. You're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty for ashes. For you will have your bride, free of all her gifts, and rid of all her shame, and know her free of we're free of all our guilt, and we're rid of all our shame, and we know that today, and it's why I sing your praise. Ever be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips. Oh, you never stop like a praise. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips. Oh, you will be praised, you will be praised, with angels and saints we were just declaring that, lifting up that song of worthy. He's worthy, 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 worthy. And I actually was hearing him sing that over every single one of you.
Wow.
He's saying, you're worthy, worthy, worthy. Why don't you just open your hands to receive? I'm going to declare this again, and I want you to hear him singing this over you. He gave everything for you to be worthy. And I'm not going to stand in the way of Jesus getting his full reward. You are worthy, worthy, worthy. 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 Oh, you are worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, you are worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, my child, you are worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, just accept that you are worthy, worthy. Put it on like a coat. You are worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, that's how I see you. You are worthy, worthy, worthy. You are worthy, worthy, worthy. You are worthy to receive all his honor and praise. And you are worthy to receive the love from the Lamb that was slain. You are worthy, worthy, worthy. He's made you worthy. He's made you worthy. He's made you worthy. I keep hearing him say, stop listening to the voices of those around you who are not agreeing with him about you. Stop listening to the voices that you hear around you that are not agreeing with him about you. If there's any voices that you're hearing that are telling you that you are not worthy of love, that you are not worthy of intimacy with the Father of the universe, if you are not worthy of everything that he has poured out on you, that is the wrong voice.
That's a lie. Amen. Because he made us worthy. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
There's a scripture in Psalms that is talking about Israel that's saying that because of their ungratefulness, that they actually blocked the blessing that God was trying to give them. So if you don't feel worthy, get grateful that you are.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
feeling will change.
Yeah.
Just start thanking God that he's made you worthy. Thank you, God, that you made me worthy to receive all honor and glory and praise that you bestow on me. Thank you, God, that you made me worthy to receive every bit of love that you poured out. Thank you, God, that you made me worthy to be able to receive all the blessing that you're just excited to pour out. He's made you worthy.
His righteousness. Amen.
You are a sibling to Jesus Christ.
My righteousness.
And when God the Father looks at Jesus, he sees perfection.
That's right.
And when God the Father looks at you,
He sees.
he sees perfection.
Amen. Amen.
It's time we start looking at ourselves and seeing perfection. Seeing ourselves through the view of God. You're worthy. Just receive it, you're worthy. Nothing you can do could make you more worthy. You just are because He's made you worthy. And nothing He does is part way, it's always complete. So you're completely worthy. You are completely, wholly, fully worthy. Stop trying to jump out of the hand of God because you feel afraid. He has you in His hand. Scripture says He's upholding you with His mighty right hand. And sometimes I believe that the pressure that we feel is Him actually having to hold us so we stop trying to jump.
Right.
I will put my trust in you alone. You're not trusting anyone but God. You're trusting the fact that when He says He has you firmly, He has you firmly. You're trusting the fact that when He says He's working all things out for the good of those who love Him, that He is working all of it out. Every pain, every fear, every uncertainty, everything that we can look with our eyes and see lack or unsurety, He's working it out. But let Him work it out. And I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. I will put my trust in you alone, and I So you are commissioned today to walk in that. You are worthy. You are worthy because He is worthy.
Right.
Trust His hands. Trust His heart. Trust His voice. Trust His eyes. Trust Him. Because He's worthy. Stretch out our hands and declare a blessing over each other. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord smile down on you and show you His kindness. May the Lord answer your prayers and give you His peace. May the Lord cover you with